welcome to our talk show, Heroes Across Cultures. I am your host, Senshin Flores, and today we're going on an adventure into the world of epics, those timeless stories filled with heroes, battles, and lessons that continue to inspire us. Now, why epics? Because they're not just stories about the past, they're reflections of how people understood life, society, and heroism. Through these tales, we see how different cultures define what it means to be a true hero. Our theme today is heroism and culture through epics. We will discover how the heroes in Ibalon, an epic from the Bicol region of the Philippines, and Beowulf, an Anglo-Saxon classic from England, both reflect their society's values and beliefs. But don't worry, this won't be boring history talk. We're going to compare monsters, analyze heroes, and reflect on why these stories still matter in our lives today. So it's part literature, part life lessons, and maybe a little bit of fun too. Joining me today, my wonderful guests, Alex, Akisha, Glacial, and Marian. They're ready to share their thoughts, insights, and maybe even some personal takes. Together, we will explore the stories, the characters, and the big questions. Why do heroic epics still matter today? So get ready for a mixed action, wisdom, and reflection. Let's get started. Let's begin with the Philippine side. Glacial, could you introduce Ibalon to us?
Sure. So Ebalon is really fascinating because it's more than just a heroic tale. It's actually the story of how community survives and thrives. The land of Ebalon was filled with dangers, wild animals, huge monsters, and even supernatural beings. The people lived in constant fear until heroes stepped in to protect them. The first one was Baltog. Imagine this, a giant boar named Tandayag destroying everyone's crops. Baltog was the only one brave enough to face it. He wrestled with this terrifying beast and killed it with his bare hands. He's like the symbol of strength and resilience.
Wow, that sounds like a full package of action and wisdom. So it's not just about slaying monsters. It's also about building a better society. That's the next level bravery. It sounds like Baltog represent the strength of the people to face nature head on.
Yes, exactly. And then came Handayong. He wasn't just a warrior, but also a leader. Handayong and his men fought against all kinds of creatures giant crocodiles, flying sharks, and even the tricky serpent Oriole. Oriole was interesting because she could shape sheep and lure people with her beauty. But instead of just killing her, Handayong actually won her trust. That shows his wisdom as a leader. He knew when to fight and when to make peace.
That's so interesting. Not every hero wins by violence. Sometimes wisdom is a stronger weapon.
And finally, there's Bantong. He's kind of strategist of the group. He fought Rabot, a half-man and half-beast monster who could turn people into stone. Bantong didn't just charge in. He used intelligence and careful planning, and he waited until Rabot was asleep, then struck. It shows that heroism isn't just about strength, but also about knowing the right moment to attack.
So in Evalon, we have a trio of heroes, Baltog's strengths, Hanjong's leadership, and Bantong's strategy. Each one adds a different piece to the definition of a hero. But now, let's travel far from the Philippines, all the way to ancient England. Glacial, can you walk us into the world of Beowulf?
Gladly. So Beowulf is one of the oldest epics in English literature, and it's very action-packed. The story begins when King Hrothgar, whose great hall Heorot, is being attacked by a monster named Grendel. Grendel is this terrifying creature who comes every night to eat the warriors. Nobody can stop him until Beowulf arrives. Beowulf fights Grendel with his bare hands and literally rips off his arm. But the story doesn't end there. Grendel's mother, furious for his son's death, comes back for revenge. Beowulf dives into a deep, dark lake to face her in her underwater lair. After an intense battle, he kills her with a magical sword he finds in her cave. Years later, when Beowulf becomes king, he faces his greatest challenge, a fire-breathing dragon. Even though he's old, he still goes into battle. He kills the dragon, but is fatally wounded. He dies a hero, but also shows that even the strongest warriors aren't invincible.
Wow, I can almost picture it like an action movie. But, you know, what strikes me? In Ibelon, we have a multiple heroes working together. In Beowulf, it's more of solo journey. Marian, do you think that's a cultural difference?
Yes, definitely. Ibalon shows the Filipino value of community and bayanihan, working together for the good of everyone. Meanwhile, Beowulf reflects Anglo-Saxon values where individual glory and reputation were very important. A hero had to prove himself through personal courage and victory.
So, it's teamwork versus solo glory. Interesting contrast. But they also share something in common, right? Glacial, what do you think?
Yes, both epics highlights the fight against monsters, which symbolize deeper struggles. In Avalon, the monster represents natural challenges like storms, wild animals, and hardships of survival in a new land. In Beowulf, the monster symbolizes evil, chaos, and fears of society. So even though the settings are different, both use battles as metaphors for overcoming life's challenges.
That's true. Monsters can be more than just scary creatures. They can represent the challenges of life. Marian, do you think these monsters are still relatable today?
Absolutely. We might not be fighting dragons or giant boars, but our monsters today are poverty, corruption, climate change, and even struggles like fear or self-doubt. Heroes are the ones who step up to face those challenges, whether they're leaders, ordinary citizens, or even ourselves.
That's powerful. It shows how epics connect the past and the present. Now, let me throw a fun what if question to lighten these things up. If the heroes of Ibalon and Beowulf had a crossover, like in Marvel movie, how do you think that would go?
I think Buell would admire Baltog's strength. They'd probably arm wrestle first before becoming friends. Ed Young would probably convince Beowulf to think about the community instead of just fame. Meanwhile, Bantong will be giving Beowulf strategy tips like, don't just charge a dragon, plan first.
I can totally imagine that. A cross-cultural team up, but back to serious talk. What do these heroes teach us about leadership?
In Ibalon, leadership is collective. Handyong teaches people law and skills, and the heroes work together. In Beowulf, leadership is shown through sacrifice. Beowulf fights until his last breath to protect his people. Both show that true leadership requires putting others before yourself, though in different ways.
Beautifully said. And I think that's the heart of these epics, showing us that heroism has many faces, but at the core, it's about responsibility. This brings us to a crucial point. Why should these ancient stories matter to us today?
Epic is still one of the relevant storytelling that we use up until today. And this literary genre continue to teach us timeless lessons that remain significant in today's modern world. It emphasizes the importance of characteristics such as bravery, kindness, perseverance, and honor. These values are the guide to make people stand firm and embrace their beliefs despite challenges. Through the story, the struggles and victories of epic heroes, we realized that in their stories, success is not easily obtained, but rather it often requires a sacrifice, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to their responsibilities and obligation. But these stories are not always about the successes and challenges of one's heroes, but also highlights about the consequences of having pride, betrayal, selfishness that reminds us to be aware of the actions we commit will always impact not only ourselves but the entire community. By showing heroes how they cope and overcome their own challenges through their courage and moral strength, Epic also teaches us how to face our challenges by our own with full of determination and hope, providing that human spirit can beat triumph no matter how hard it may seem.
We've talked a lot about battles, monsters, and heroes, but let's bring it closer to us. Why should we care about these epics today? Marian, let's start with you.
Modern heroes exemplify epic values through their courage, sacrifice, practices, and resilience as they face contemporary challenges. These heroes embodied the same timeless values celebrated in traditional epics. And just as epic warrior heroes guarded their people, heroes of today, such as frontline workers in various industries, for example, medical and education, leaders, activists, and entrepreneurs safeguard and empower their communities. These heroes represent the timeless epic principles of loyalty, justice, and compassion while engaging in current deeds, demonstrating that these epic values are still respected rather and encourage individuals to act with honor and courage in the modern world.
That's a profound perspective, Marian. Building on that, how do you think modern heroes can reflect these epic values in their actions and decisions? Alex, what are your thoughts?
These heroic epics are like special time capsules that keep the unique cultural identity of different communities alive for many generations. They preserve core values, beliefs, traditions that make a group of people who they are. For instance, Philippine epics such as Biyag in Lamang clearly show the Ilocanos people's strong emphasis on family loyalty, courage in defending loved ones, and perseverance in life's challenges. Similarly, the Ibalon epic from the Bicol region highlights their resilience and community spirits in facing nature's dangers and building a civilization. On a global scale, epics like the Epic of Gilgamesh preserve the ancient Mesopotamian understanding of human limits and the search of meaning in life, while the Ramayana teaches about duty and righteousness central to Hindu culture. By telling stories about heroes who embody these ideals, epics pass down important lessons about how to live, what to believe, and how to act within their society. They ensure that the collective memory, history, and worldview of people are not forgotten, helping future generations connect with their roots and understand their distinct cultural heritage.
That's a good answer, Akisha. And as we end to our talk show Heroes Across Cultures, we learn that epics like Ibalon and Beowulf are more than just stories about fighting monsters. They teach us lessons and courage, teamwork, sacrifice, and determination. Even if these epics came from different parts of the world, they both show what it means to be a hero. Ibalon reminds us about the value of community and working together, while Beowulf shows us the importance of bravery and honor. These lessons are still important today because they guide us in facing our own challenges in life. So remember, heroes are not only found in old stories, they can also be found in our everyday lives, and we can all be heroes in our own ways. Thank you to my amazing guests, Alex, Akisha, Glacial, and Marian, for sharing your ideas, and thank you to everyone for listening. This has been Heroes Across Cultures. Once again, I am your host, Senshin Flores. Until next time, let's all keep the spirit of heroism alive.